downtown Manila Christmas evening, and it sounds more like a war zone in the Gaza Strip than Christmas in a Southeast Asian island. I'm just keeping it real. These guys are shooting off what I assume are fireworks, but it sounds more like cannons and shotguns. And it's so random. It's not even like, like you see the regular fireworks go off all at once and the lights in the sky. These are like random shotguns. Artillery. Happy holidays. Public service announcement for anyone thinking of relocating to the Philippines. I've seen YouTube videos from expats who claim to be living off of $800 a month or $1,000 a month. Are there places here that you can do that? Sure there are. But if you're from the West, you won't like it. Remember, even though it's cheaper to live here than in the West, living off of $800 a month, it's just not feasible. Poverty in the Philippines is off the charts, and I blame leadership. Now understand, as a guest in this country, I am slow to criticize the way things are. I don't want to get into politics. And in the US, we have our own share of poverty, the supposedly richest country in the world. But here it's more pronounced, I think, because the average daily wage of a Filipino is somewhere around $10. And that's for the college-educated Filipinos. So, what's the answer? Well, you tell me. I want to dedicate this video to someone who helped me out after a disastrous 4 years in Mexico. When I got back to California, this person had my back, and she helped me get back on my feet. So I want to give a shout out to Katarina. Katarina, I wish I had a picture to show you, but unfortunately I can't because, well, one, I didn't bother to take one, but even if I did, it would be inappropriate because of her employment. But trust me, she's hot. And no, I'm not trying to get with her. She's happily married. But if she wasn't, well, the truth is there's really only one woman out of all the women that I've dated in my life. There's really only one that I consider to be the one that got away. And she's a redhead from Indiana. Her name is Sarah. And no, I'm not going to show you her photo either. But anyway, shout out to Katarina. And I want to let you know that there are many things that you need to adjust to here in the Philippines if you plan on visiting for a long period of time. Not just the heat, the traffic, the noise, the poverty, but I think above all else is the way they do things here. Now, if you're from the West, you're used to more efficient ways, and you're used to speed and getting things done quickly. Well, that's not always the case here. They have their own way, their own style of doing things. And I'm going to go into detail about that on a future video because I went to the Bureau of Immigration recently, and let me tell you, that was a unique adventure in itself. I went there to extend my visitor's visa. Mission accomplished, but I'll explain that in a future video. Suffice it to say, if you are from the West and you are considering being here for a long term, I'm not talking about 2 weeks or something like that. I'm talking about actually being here for the long haul. Then you might want to start developing your patience before you even step foot on a plane, because people here do things differently, but they're so darn nice about it. You will almost always get a smile and a hello, mom. Hello, sir. Thank you, Poe. So there you go. I think anywhere you live in the world, housing is going to be your largest expense. And here you can find cheap housing, much cheaper than in the West, obviously. I choose to live in expensive Manila because I want safety, security, and all-inclusiveness, meaning I can go just a few blocks to get everything I need. It's modern, very modern. Could I save some money by living outside the big city? Sure. But I have requirements, and requirements differ for each individual. Just my preference, and my preference doesn't mean it's the same for everyone. I just thought I'd throw that out there. The second highest expense, for me at least, is surprisingly food. Healthy food is pricey, almost as expensive as in the U.S. So you need to be conscious of that if you're thinking of being here, especially being here in the long term. Healthy food, as I mentioned in a previous video, a head of lettuce, a simple head of lettuce is more than in the West, to be quite honest. It's expensive. Fresh fruit, fresh produce costs more for some reason. Fresh meat, the same thing. And I'd say in general, the overall Philippine diet is not the healthiest. This is not a dig on the Philippines, but I'm just sharing with you my observations. Be mindful of that if you plan on staying here longer than a few weeks. This video is dedicated to my assistant, Anna, and I'll tell you why shortly. So I decided to remain in the Philippines a little while longer, and that meant renewing my tourist visa. Now, I had heard horror stories about how, let's just say, efficiency is not the strong point of Philippine government, and that's fine. No hate. But you should be surprised at the number of foreigners who failed to renew their visas and they overstayed their visas. I mean, you can actually go to jail for that. You can get locked up. That wasn't going to happen with me. So I enlisted the help of Anna to accompany me to the Bureau of Immigration. Long story short, we got what we came for. I got my renewal, and I got something I didn't expect, an ACR card. This allows me to do a few things that regular tourists can't do, such as open a bank account. Even though I opened my first bank account already like a week after I arrived, I just walked into a bank, asked to speak to the manager, and said, hey, I'm living here in this condo and I'd like to open a bank account. And they gave me a savings account and a debit card. I just wanted the ability to spend pesos without going to an ATM every other day. Mission accomplished. I got my extension. I got my ACR card. When I got to a window, things went a lot faster and a lot smoother than I expected. Maybe these guys have got a tough rap because seemed very patient and very tolerant, and they were so very nice. At least that's my experience. Okay, so it's no secret that the Philippines has its share of problems, from an aging airport to the rampant poverty to the noise, pollution, and so many stray dogs and cats, you can't even count. But one thing the Philippine government seems to not lack is a sense for morality. There's been a long-term push to eliminate what they call undesirables from the country. And I would suggest that any Westerner who wants to come here to make sure your record is. I've seen most Western guys come to the Philippines or any Southeast Asian country in order to meet women. They want to meet a girlfriend or perhaps a wife. And that's fine, no hate. But for me, it's a little bit different. My goal was to continue pursuing my purpose. Part of that meant going to a place where the cost of living was relatively low compared to the West. And I think as a man, pursuing your purpose is paramount. It's crucial because, after all, that is what makes you a man at the end of the day. If you meet a woman who aligns with your purpose, then that's like the icing on a cake. But it should not be your ultimate goal. Your ultimate goal should be to pursue your purpose. That is what makes you a winner.
Have you noticed that you're their second choice?
Have you ever noticed that we are their last choice? Think about it. They want out from you. They choose us as their second choice, but we will be the last choice.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. Modern women have failed because if your man has to get on a plane and go thousands upon thousands of miles away, then that's a failure on you. I don't know why you're even speaking on them. It should be a powwow where the modern women say, okay, where do we mess up at and how do we fix it? Because these guys are going to great lengths with this. Because see, the pick-me's isn't toxic and all of that. They don't hate brothers or anything. They're not nothing like that. They're not out here, saying delete black male babies. They're not saying that. They're not being rude. They're not being ugly. Let's continue.
They have to get out from you. They have to choose the right woman for them. They know better. They knew that a different cultured woman is the best choice.
And, a lot of these particular countries like Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Japan, China, etc., even though they're all Asian countries, they still have a particular culture that, like, Chinese culture is different from, Philippine culture, or their Filipino culture is different from Thai culture. So every country has a culture. Certain cultures are more conducive for people, just like African cultures, right? That's very conducive for a lot of brothers here because it's something familiar that they know. And also it still goes back to that traditional family values. Men are not going to change and get away from traditional family values. That's not going to happen. Not real men, but the majority of men who are married do better in life. Statistically speaking, married men live longer than single men. Married men are happier statistically than single men. So if he goes to another culture that's rooted in traditional family values, then that culture is more conducive for him, because in America, it's not rooted in traditional family values. It's rooted in freaking sin and unrighteousness.
Now, don't get mad at us because we are the best choice. According to you, we will always be the second choice, but that's okay.
Well, these modern women are attacking the passport kings. Because like I said, passport kings is a better word in my opinion than just bros. Because you got, like I said, you got to morph past the bro thing. That, you know, passport bros is kind of, you know, with time it becomes a little juvenile, because it's not saying, okay, once you get the woman, okay, then what? That's always the question. Then what? Then you have to move on to the next level. But I don't believe in that. I believe that if you're going to go over there, you get a wife. You date, get a wife, form a family. That's why I support it 100%, because there's too many brothers out here who's by themselves, or just men in general who's by themselves, and they can't find anybody. 'Cause I get men of all communities writing me, especially on Facebook, and they say, look, we dealing with the same problems as the brothers. Get into a culture that's rooted in traditional family values. Culture is everything. American culture right now sucks.